Tonight on the Money Programme, the rise of spying in business as companies break the law to keep ahead of the competition. We expose the murky practices of phone bugging, computer hacking and secret filming that are expanding across the corporate world.
There's a big demand for it, created by companies that should know better.
In the glamorous world of Formula One, McLaren's been fined £50 million for spying on a rival.
I don't think a major team can survive Formula One without having knowledge of what their opposition is doing.
And it's not just glitzy industries at it. A waste tycoon has also been caught red-handed.
In his own words, he would do anything to protect his business.
So just how far are companies willing to go if they want to get their hands on their rivals' dirty little secrets? Melbourne, Australia. March the 18th, 2007. The first Grand Prix of the season. Ferrari's Kimi Raikkonen goes off to refuel on lap 19. But his rivals at McLaren already know the plan. This is crucial information when there's so little to separate the teams, according to a veteran Formula One insider.
If you take a car at the front of the grid and a car at the back of the grid, you're talking about fractions of a second, and people will pay fortunes to get that advantage. If they can get that advantage by spying, then of course you alleviate that cost.
3 weeks later, the circuit moves to Malaysia. By this time, McLaren have discovered the weight distribution of their opponent's car.
It's the weight distribution that gives the driver the confidence, and if you have a confident driver, you'll have a quick car.
Now, Ferrari and McLaren, the two richest teams, are in first and second place for the £40 million top prize. But McLaren have a hidden advantage. They have a spy in the Ferrari camp, and his information is right on the money. Internal emails reveal involvement at the very top of McLaren. Reigning world champion Fernando Alonso asks whether he can rely on the secret intelligence. His test driver says he can.
All the information from Ferrari is very reliable. It comes from the same person who told us in Australia that Kimi was stopping in lap 18.
Barcelona, Spain. The Formula One travelling circus moves on. McLaren, led by rookie Lewis Hamilton, overtake Ferrari in the championship race. At this crucial point, the spy delivers Ferrari's crown jewels, its 2007 operating manual full of test results and engineering data. It reveals the secrets of Ferrari's highly successful brake balance system. McLaren technicians immediately set about trying to copy it. Secret phone calls follow, text messages, emails, nearly 400 in 3 months. Sometimes as many as 10 in a day. According to the Italian police, the timing of these contacts is damning.
Certo numero di email intercorrenti tra un funzionario.
When it comes to the emails that we found between an employee of Ferrari and someone inside McLaren, the frequency of these emails more or less always coincided with the Grand Prix races.
In concomitanza con le corse.
The plot was finally exposed here in this quiet Surrey village, just down the road from McLaren's headquarters. In June, the wife of a McLaren engineer brought the 780-page Ferrari manual to a document scanning company. The manager was suspicious and immediately phoned Ferrari. The game was up. The McLaren engineer with access to Ferrari's secrets turned out to be this man, chief designer Michael Coughlin, and the Ferrari informer Nigel Stepney, one of their senior mechanics. The question was, were they acting on the orders of McLaren's top brass? In Paris, 2 months later, the sports governing body, the FIA, met to give its verdict on the whole affair.
Lewis, are you worried about today?
Now, there's turmoil in the world of Formula One tonight after the British team McLaren was fined a record £50 million for spying on its main rival. The sports governing body found that McLaren had used technical information leaked from Ferrari. McLaren will lose all of this year's championship points, but the team's drivers, including Lewis Hamilton, will not lose any of their points.
McLaren told us that although they did not accept all the FIA's conclusions, they apologised wholeheartedly for their conduct and said they would do everything in their power to avoid a repetition. However, the view of many insiders is that spying and Formula One go hand in hand.
I think espionage has been there from day one, and it certainly is there now, and will continue to be there. It's part of Formula One.
But Formula One isn't the only business where the prize tempts companies to steal trade secrets. An entire industry has been spawned, known as corporate intelligence, and worth billions of pounds. And it seems few industries are immune to its attractions. You might think the world of conservatory design and manufacture could never be the stuff of spy plots and intrigue. But you'd be wrong. Welcome to the so-called conservatory war. At its heart is this. It's called an aluminium glazing bar. And it was at the centre of a spy story that finished with one man out of business and out of Britain.
They stopped my business, everything I work for. Any stress that I feel, it comes flooding back.
The spying began at the gates of this factory in Manchester. A private investigator was stationed outside.
As requested on the 12th of September, we visited Groby Road, Audenshaw. Thereafter we observed for several hours all incoming cars. List enclosed of all registration numbers and model of vehicles present on the car park between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m.
The target of the investigation was Howard Davis, a conservatory roof designer and builder with big ambitions.
I was always going to be in second spot because our competitor was an extremely large company, turning over many millions and growing at a prodigious rate. But the market was big enough for me to slip in and do my business and take a share.
Welcome to Audenshaw. It's nice to see so many of you here on the open day.
On the day the espionage began, Howard Davis was demonstrating his system to potential trade customers from all over Britain. He believed his business was about to take off.
Our new co-extruded gasket will fix top.
The show went well. I felt pretty good at the end of the day. And I felt as they walked off and drove and left the premises, I thought, these people have got confidence. They know that this is not a two-bit outfit anymore.
The spy who'd staked out Davis's factory produced a report for the directors of what was then Britain's biggest conservatory company. Its name, Ultraframe. The attractions of Howard Davis's system were simple. It was quick to put up, and it was cheap at a time 10 years ago when the conservatory market was overpriced. The stage was set for a David and Goliath struggle.
The profit margins were extremely high, and that's what Ultraframe were trying to protect. Howard Davis came in there and reduced their prices by 30 to 40%, and that was a huge threat to their profit margins.
The cars logged by the gumshoe belonged to the trade buyers Davis was trying to attract away from Ultraframe. It was useful external surveillance. But Ultraframe had a bigger concern. They were on the verge of a stock market flotation. They believed Davis's new system was infringing their patents. To find out more, they needed to get someone inside.
I had this strange letter from a group of accountants in Wales. I think it was either Cardiff or Swansea. Very short letter, letter-headed paper, saying that they had a client who was interested in buying a conservatory company or investing in a conservatory business, knowing that the market was growing and it was potentially lucrative. And I remember the letter saying, well, we have to respect our clients' confidentiality and we can't tell you who they are. And if you're interested, could you phone? So I phoned. The man on the other end was a man called Ian Bernstein.
Some days later, Mr. Bernstein paid a visit. He turned out not to be an accountant from Wales, but a private investigator working for Ultraframe. He secretly recorded the meeting. We have the transcript.
And all this is fully paid. No, there's no paper.
Why? Well, you can sidestep it.
This is exactly what Ultraframe wanted to find out. Davis's lack of patent protection was useful to the legal claim they would launch for infringement. But Ultraframe's spy extracted even more information. Believing him a genuine potential investor, Davis also gave up his financial secrets, revealing exactly how he was undercutting his bigger rival.
Just let me get some figures together. But these are the actual gross margins. Just have a quick look at them. I've not made them up.
I felt okay when he'd left. I'm probably waiting for a reply and see what happened next. As it happens, he never got in touch.
Within a month, Ultraframe floated successfully on the stock market. A year and a half later, their claim for patent infringement ground to a halt. But by then, Howard Davis had left the business. The Money programme asked Ultraframe about the espionage. They told us it took place over 10 years ago, and that the directors involved are no longer employed by the business. As for Howard Davis, he has long since left the conservatory trade and has spent the last decade living in Spain.
If he hadn't been attacked by Ultraframe and been allowed to get on with his business, then there's no doubt in my mind that he would have been a multimillionaire now.
They crushed me. There's no question about that. It's not my view. I think you could ask anyone who's been involved in this case, they would say, yeah, he's had a bad time there. But they never understand the emotions. There's only me that can do that, you know.
Corporate espionage isn't just about business to business. It can affect ordinary people too. People like me and you. Our next case illustrates just how easy it is for corporate sleuths to find out our most personal and private details when their clients demand it. This is highly illegal and usually done by smaller subcontracted investigators.
As you can see there, we're saying that National Health Service, government, banks and other big organisations are almost daily being bombarded by blaggers trying to get unlawful personal information.
Mick Gorrell of the Information Commission, the body charged with protecting all our personal data, has focused on a group of spies who make bogus phone calls to obtain confidential records. They're often working for law firms deciding whether to sue someone or insurance companies assessing a claim. Mr. Gorrell calls them blaggers.
Well, I would describe blaggers as petty criminals because that's what they are. It's a bit like burgling your house, really, or stealing something from your car. It's exactly the same. It's your information, it belongs to you, and they're not entitled to it, but they take it.
Sharon Anderson could be described as Britain's queen of the blaggers. In a quiet Cambridgeshire town, Mrs. Anderson and her husband ran an extraordinary blagging operation, turning over £140,000 a year from this now vacant first-floor office above a travel agent's. We've obtained a recording made by one of the banks conned by Mrs. Anderson. In this call, she's trying to obtain confidential mortgage details. She's armed only with a name and address. She impersonates Lisa from head office and makes it sound frighteningly easy.
Good afternoon, Bank Home Loan Stream speaking. How can I help you? Oh, hi, it's Lisa here in credit control. Can you do me a favour?
Can you do me a favour and see if you can locate a mortgage number, please, with the surname and address? There's no number on it for some reason.
Credit control? Is that a branch department?
No, I'm from head office.
Right, okay. You should actually be calling through on the branch line.
We've got no system, so we can't call any numbers out. This is just one we got on speed dial.
According to Mick Gorrell, this is classic blagger technique. Pretend to be calling from within the company.
She's used the magic term head office, and she's confident, and she's quite convincing. So the call centre operator clearly wants to help.
She even sounds a tiny bit bored, as though she was sitting in a bank head office.
She does. She's doing it as if she's made lots of calls like this already that day, and this is just another one to get through to do her job.
And you have the first name?
Having established her credentials, Mrs. Anderson soon runs into trouble. But watch how she sails past the problem.
I do have an account. Can you give me the sort code?
What do you mean, sort code? Sorry.
Sort code for the customer.
No, I've got nothing. I've got no system at all.
How can I help you?
Can I just jot down the account number?
And what's the day of the month that staff are paid, please?
This is a standard security question. But how can an outsider like Sharon Anderson possibly know the answer?
I get paid on the 20th.
And you're calling from credit control?
Yeah, I'm from head office.
The call centre operator is a little bit suspicious, probably wondering now whether this really is someone from credit control at head office. So she puts in the standard security question, which is what day of the month are we paid? But it's interesting what the blagger says, because she says, I get paid on that date, not we get paid on that day.
Mrs. Anderson has effortlessly blagged the question and keeps up the pressure. Now watch how the operator reluctantly decides to help someone she's been tricked into thinking is a colleague.
What information are you looking for?
Have you got the account number?
Yes, okay. So you can give me the day of the month that staff are paid, customer's name and address.
Yep.
And you don't have the sort code?
No, well, I've got no system. I still can't look at anything at the moment.
Right, you're okay. Right, the account number is...
So that's how she got someone's mortgage account number when she was not entitled to it.
54.
Before she'd finished for the day, Sharon Anderson went on to get the target's monthly mortgage repayments and the outstanding loan amount. And in a separate call to the revenue, she got his complete tax return for the previous year. With her casually brazen technique, it's not surprising the real Sharon Anderson conned confidential information out of Lloyds Bank, HSBC, NatWest, Barclays, Coutts, British Gas, B-Sky B and Legal & General. We tracked down Mrs. Anderson to her new home in France, but she declined to take part in this programme. A year ago, she and her husband were fined £7,500 for their Data Protection Act crimes. These offences will soon carry punishments of up to 2 years in prison, but will that stop it?
There's a big demand for it, created by, we think, companies that should know better. Insurance companies, law firms, finance companies. But they're creating the demand. We're trying to change that attitude, but it is difficult.
So far, we've seen espionage cases which have been ruinous and unpleasant, and also cases where the law has been broken. But the next one is altogether more disturbing and ends up with both the investigators and the clients going to jail. The village of Thornhall sits on the edge of the fens. What happened here involves corporate snooping on a scale rarely before documented. It all started one day when civil servant Martin Witherington found a stranger outside his house. The man he saw was opening up an underground phone junction box.
It was here. I came home in the evening and there was a van just further round the bend here, a white van, and a guy bent over this and he must become aware of me and then turned round and looked across the road. He put the cover back on and within a matter of minutes he'd driven off up the road.
Mr. Witherington phoned BT the next day, but it had no record of an engineer going to the village.
We're a small community, and as such we tend to keep an eye on everything that's going on because we all know each other, which is probably not the case in a town.
Time passed and Mr. Witherington forgot about the incident. Then his neighbour received an unusually large phone bill, and so did other people in the area. BT called in the police.
They had been alerted by a number of customers to unusual activities on their account and had highlighted a number of locations where devices had been placed to intercept telephone calls.
These devices were phone bugs. They were the cause of the large phone bills. First, the police deliberately damaged the bugs. They knew the phone tapper would have to come back to fix them. All they had to do now was sit and wait. But who would want to bug the villagers of Thornhall, and why? Nothing ever happened here. Well, almost nothing. Opposite the village was a landfill site processing household rubbish. It was run by a company called Atlantic Waste Services Limited. Atlantic Waste was owned by this man, a well-connected millionaire who had spotted the vast profits to be made from landfill and toxic refuse. His name, Adrian Kirby. According to a former employee, Mr. Kirby was a man used to getting his own way.
He came across to me as the classic school bully. He was a flashman character, really. He was very keen on achieving the goals that he'd set himself, very driven towards those goals, and a very consummate performer in that respect.
The Thornhall villagers were campaigning to close Mr. Kirby's site. One of the most vocal protesters was Steve Hunt. He believed the tip was a health hazard. He lived 2 doors down from Martin Witherington, the man who had first encountered the stranger.
Every aspect of our lives was dictated by that tip. We had the bleeping at night. The chemicals sometimes were so strong that it would actually make your eyes stream and your throat actually physically sore. It was 24/7 and you just couldn't get away from it.
As part of the campaign, Steve documented his activities on video.
Hi there.
Excuse me, do you realise you are trespassing on...
No, I didn't know I was trespassing.
Then Steve and his fellow protesters discovered there was a way to halt the waste tips operation. The site was rumoured to be home to this tiny endangered species, the great crested newt, heavily protected in law. The local authority prepared an injunction to suspend the tip.
It was a bit of a mission, if you like, to try and prove that there were actually newts there.
Steve Hunt resolved to confirm the newts were there by filming them. At the very same time, Adrian Kirby was trying to sell his company and make himself tens of millions of pounds. If the villagers found the newts in time and got the site suspended, the price Kirby could expect would be drastically reduced. One afternoon, Steve Hunt discussed plans to film the newts in a phone call with a neighbour.
Hello, Steve, it's Bob. Bob, how you doing? Yeah, all right, not bad.
But unknown to them both, this private conversation was being bugged.
Apparently they've got, 14 days to find the nudes. Right.
The contents recorded and transcribed.
Yeah, jolly good, Steve. All right then. Yeah, okay, bye. Cheers.
That's a real violation of your own space, and it's like someone's violated your home. It really is like someone's violated your home.
Later, Steve Hunt went on his mission to film the nudes. But Kirby's security guards were waiting for him. So, who was bugging Steve Hunt's phone conversation? Could it be Adrian Kirby? Finally, the police's trap paid off. They were now on the tracks of the stranger originally spotted by Martin Witherington. He was identified as Michael Hall, a known criminal with some telecommunications training. Hall led police to a London firm of private detectives called Active Investigation Services. When the police raided the firm's offices, they discovered one of its principal clients was Adrian Kirby and Atlantic Waste.
It soon was clear that Atlantic Waste was in fact their largest customer.
So, the trail that started when Martin Witherington saw the stranger had led to Adrian Kirby after all. But the raid revealed a final extraordinary dimension to the espionage. The spies had hacked into the emails of Steve Hunt and the villagers. This way, Kirby always knew their plans in advance. As well as that, Kirby also tried to get inside local government computer systems. When he was stopped by the firewall, he got into officials' home computers instead. Not long after the raid, he started negotiations to sell his waste company and make him £65 million. It looked as if he'd got away with it. But the police were on Adrian Kirby's tail. After 6 months of painstaking investigation, they were able to gather enough evidence to charge him and one of his fellow directors. Adrian Kirby pleaded guilty to an espionage conspiracy and got 6 months in jail. But he kept his millions. The investigators he hired got terms ranging up to 2 years.
Mr. Kirby said that he would do anything to protect his business. He had no respect or concern for the law-abiding citizens that lived around the premises that he owned.
It was quite unnerving knowing that this had happened. I mean, I wouldn't go to the extent that we were fearful of our lives, but you know, when we heard bumps in the night that you do hear, you think, oh, what's going on there?
As technology develops, corporate espionage is increasing. The lesson from the cases in this programme is that for many companies, spying is quite simply business by other means. For more information, go to bbc.co.uk/moneyprogramme. Next week, we're all living longer and our pensions are worth less. That's why many people are now seeing retirement as a business opportunity. The former Money Programme presenter Valerie Singleton comes back to meet Britain's oldest entrepreneurs. That's next Friday at 7 here on BBC2.